Hey, so we are going to talk briefly, I think, today about cultural appropriation because it's something that I get asked about a lot. And people in the neo pagan community are kind of getting used a little bit, I hope, to the idea of not appropriating traditions and cultures and all the rest of it from black and brown people. But I'm not sure that Irish heritage has quite made it into a lot of people's consciousness as something that can be appropriated. But it can, and it is. So that's why I'm talking about that today. So, what is appropriation? There is quite a fine line and quite a blurry line between like being respectful and wanting to honor a culture or a heritage or traditions or spirituality or anything like that, and actually appropriating it. And for me, even though like I said, there's a lot of gray areas and there's a lot of like individual cases may vary and all the rest of it, but for me it really kind of comes down to a question of like, are you profiting from this? Like is this a culture that you belong to, for a start, is your first question. So have you grown up in this? Uh, do you have a place in this culture? If you walked into a pub in Ireland, would you be recognized as one of our own, or a shop, or doesn't have to be a pub? um, should do a video actually on pubs in Ireland because people associate the Irish with drinking, but uh, I'm not sure that they understand the kind of the social structures of Ireland and the place that the pub culture has. But anyway, if you want to see that video, comment below. Yeah, so like if you walked into a pub in Ireland, would you be accepted or would you be viewed as an outsider? Now that's a whole dodgy question in itself as well. And I do have another video on what it means to be Irish, so do go back and have a look at that. I can put a link below, or maybe it'll pop up if I can figure out how to do that. It might pop up into your above there. So super professional. Yeah, so question one, are you a part of that culture? I'm realizing that I have my art supplies here behind me. So if you're wondering what that blue thing is behind my head, it's actually a ruler and, pens and post-its and stuff. So it looks like I'm wearing a interesting headpiece, but I'm not. Um, so are you a part of that culture? And do you have a place in it? Like, you know, is it yours? Do you have a right to it in a real way, not an entitled way? I have other videos on that as well about entitlement. What is an Irish 3 is one of the videos. So if you do feel that you have a sense of ownership of that culture, um, you also, like, even at that point, you still don't get to just kind of take. Okay. So if you're not 100% sure, maybe ask people from that culture what they think and be prepared for their honest answers. But even if you do, and what are you contributing to the culture? Because while it's not technically appropriation if you are within a culture and a part of a culture and you're profiting from it or benefiting from it, um you can still take the piss, you can still do damage, you can still be harmful. So you should always be asking yourself, what am I giving back here? What am I contributing? What is the energetic impact of what I'm producing or what I'm contributing that's being viewed as part of this culture? Okay, so there is that. If you are not a part of the culture, and but like you genuinely have, maybe you have Irish heritage. Again, check out that on my Irish video. And maybe you have Irish heritage and you really, really draw, or you don't. Maybe you just have a sense of belonging or purpose, or like a longing for a particular culture, and you feel very drawn to it. I mean, as pagans, we, for the most part, believe in, past lives, and that the soul has a journey, or the spirit has a journey that extends beyond this one single corporeal body, physical form. So, maybe you were a part of that culture in a past life. Maybe you have ancestry within that culture that you are not aware of, and that is drawing on bloodlines. Maybe you, maybe you just fucking like it, and that's fine too. So you can show respect and honor. And I'm going to loop back to my question of what are you contributing to that culture. So if you're dressing up, you know, as with kind of the classic elements of that culture, and you're kind of identifying with it in that way, and you're changing your name to be a part of that culture and all the rest of it, like, are you actually contributing to that culture in a respectful manner? Is the culture benefiting? Are native and indigenous people, businesses, all the rest of it benefiting? Are you, especially if you're a white person and it's a culture that is primarily people of color, are you using your privilege and your power and your status to spotlight indigenous voices, or promote indigenous businesses, or um, it, even just the mythology, and are you going back to native sources, or is it all other white people? um like, these are all big questions to be asking yourself, that really kind of draw a hard line on whether you are actually honoring that culture, whether you are actually being respectful, or whether you're just a Kalini, a colonizer, who is just repeating patterns of taking what you want because it's shiny and you want it, and you feel that you need it. Even none of those are good reasons to take what you want, and none of them are respectfully interacting with that culture. So that's where appropriation starts, and really where appropriation comes into a very, very clear, out of those gray areas and into really clear kind of black and white, is if you are profiting from it, or even benefiting. It doesn't have to be financial profit, but it often is, and it usually is. So are you financially, or publicity wise, or social standing, is it making you cool to be seen as like a part of this culture, or um carrying the trappings of this culture, or have you written a book on, say, not naming any names, but say, the ancient Irish traditions of witchcraft, which is called by an entirely made up name that um doesn't even have those letters in the Irish language. um and are you just not a part of that culture and just writing because it's popular, because people love Celtic shit, and here's something that I can just entirely fucking make up, and not that I'm bitter or anything. Here's something I can entirely make up and profit from, for years to come, because those dopes don't know any different, so um people coming over and, like, or not even coming over, but people teaching classes on Irish heritage and Irish traditions is a very common one. And again, profiting and benefiting from it. Um, so, like, and even this kind of gets into awkward situations where, I have some friends who are not a part of Irish culture, who would not call themselves Irish, and who would not be recognised as Irish by the Irish community, who do teach and write on Irish traditions. And they are people that I have a lot of respect for, and they do profit from it. And like, that's not a problem, because they are actively giving back to the community. Again, there's that right relationship, and it keeps coming back to the core, the right relationship between, and that's Theo Father Ior, the right relationship that is the essence of all of my Irish paganism. That these particular people, these teachers, these writers, these authors, are in right relationship with Ireland, because they are working fucking damn hard to promote, as I said earlier, promote native sources, to um, feed back into charities that help Irish causes and Irish people. They put their money where their mouth is as well. They use their positions to boost native voices, to signal boost um, either causes, or businesses or creators, or whatever it is. So again, they're working in right relationship with Ireland. And while I don't think that that gives you a free pass if you're specifically profiting from working with somebody else's heritage, it definitely helps. It definitely goes a long way towards it. I think you really need to keep your eye on the ball. If you're in that situation, you really need to keep your eye on the ball, that you don't tip over um, into just hardcore appropriation, that you're not undercutting. If you're in a better position, or in a more privileged position, that you're not undercutting, say in business terms, if it's profits involved, um, what Native or Indigenous people are able to do within their own particular markets or circumstances. That, like, there's a lot of factors that come into it, and it does kind of lead to some awkwardness, especially between friends sometimes. But ultimately, I think it really is important that we all examine our internalized processes and our conditioning around what's acceptable and what's not, when it comes to taking from Irish cultures, and the cultures of people of color, and various other traditions that are very, very common within the neo-pagan community. And of course, I'm speaking from an Irish perspective, because that's where I'm sitting, literally, in my bedroom in Ireland. And again, I hope nobody's going to kind of fall out at me over this video, because that happens. I don't think any of my friends will. I think this is all, in fairness, this is all self-examination work that they have been doing. And I think that it's really important, and it's really healthy to have these conversations. And do let me know in the comments below what you think about this. Don't be a dick, because you'll just get deleted. I have like quite stringent zero tolerance policies in my comments, so just don't be a dick. But I would love to hear from you, and whether you agree or disagree with me, that's fine. Just be respectful, okay? And outline your position, and examine your own kind of unconscious or cultural biases, your conditioning that you've been trained to do, that it's okay to take, it's okay to practice Irish paganism, or to write books or teach classes on Irish paganism, or run workshops, or any of that stuff, because my granny came from Cork, and it's not how that works. You don't get a free pass. Do, as I said, loop back to my video on what it means to be Irish, and I will link that in the comments below. So I'm going to finish up there, and continue with our daily content. I might do a blog post tomorrow, but I'll be back to videos then. We just keep going. We're on day 11. This was filmed on the 11th of November, and I'm doing a 30-day content challenge. And all through November, between my YouTube and my blog, which is loraobrien.ie. And we do have we have a lot on that website, actually. So if you want to get if you want to get updates through the mailing list, please do sign up. So just go to loraobrien.ie. There's links below. Okay, so subscribe, like, share, discuss, post it in groups, do all the wonderful engagement things with this video, and support a native Irish creator in that way. Or you could go and buy my shit, because I have the irishpaganschool.com is a wealth of teaching material and experiences. So please do subscribe. And if you are subscribed to the channel and you want to get the daily updates, hit that bell or the notification thing so that you get notified when I go live or when I am going to have when I post channel updates of videos. I'm sorry. I'll get better at this. This is why I'm doing the content challenge, because I really want to get better at this and stop rambling so much. So slán go fóill, and I'll see you in the next video.